Well, good evening, everyone. It's sort of a pleasure, it's really a pleasure to see everyone in person. You know, it's been quite some time since we've been together in person.
Well, let's see if you say that after the meeting.
Yeah.
The 22 agenda.
So it's good to see everyone. And thank you again for everyone for being here this afternoon or this evening. First order of business, first of all, council, would you read the attendance and make sure we have the quorum and those that are present for the record, please?
Sure, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Clay?
Present.
Estes?
Here.
Smitho?
Here.
Demolowitz?
Yep.
Efficoro?
Here.
Ethier?
Here.
Collins?
Here.
Lockhart?
Here.
And Ward?
Here.
All present, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. First order of business, approving the previous minutes. Oh, I'm sorry. May I have a motion to?
Motion.
Thank you.
Second by
And the second, please.
Bob.
Thank you, Bob. Can we? Excuse me. Oh, council said call the vote. So,
Aye.
Aye.
all in favor? Opposed? Thank you.
I know it's been 2 years, but there's too much formality going on here.
Yeah, I know.
I never actually vote on something.
Yeah. But thank you, Counselor. It's all these beautiful faces in front of me. You kind of threw me off of everything. You know.
We're not as flat, you know?
Okay, may we have a motion to approve the previous minutes, please?
Really?
We just did
We
it.
second it?
Aye.
It's practice.
Practice.
All right, and may I have a motion to, what we want to do is, we want to take this a little bit out of order. We want to begin with number 11 through 23, is that right, Counselor?
That is correct. And I would just note for everyone, there were 3 items added to the end of this agenda. So we have a 21 through 23, and they are in both the written printed pamphlet that you have, as well as updated on Granicus.
Motion of group 11 to 23.
Second.
Oh, no, we can't group them.
No?
No. Scared or
We're
agreed?
just going to take them out of order.
Yeah, we're just gonna take them out of order. So item 11 is authorizing the submission of a grant application to and an agreement with the State of New York Division of Criminal Justice Services for the 2018-2019 Senate Majority Edward Byrne Justice Assistance Grant and amending the 2022 Sheriff's Office budget.
So
Okay,
moved.
anybody with the chair?
Mr. Chairman, that, we were awarded $10,000, no match. That's to purchase the body worn cameras, so we're just asking permission in order to do that.
Any questions from the committee?
You're on camera, so just sit in the
Oh, I'm
seat.
sorry.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion's made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Item 12 is authorizing the submission of a grant application to and an agreement with the State of New York Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services regarding the 2021-2022 Hazardous Materials Emergency Preparedness Grant and amending the 2022 Sheriff's Office budget.
Mr. Chairman, CSX Railroad was very generous in providing us with a tanker car for training, but we do have some cost. We have to have it cleaned, we have to have it moved, and they're also providing us with some rail tracks that we're gonna put at the training center in Colony for all the fire departments in the county to utilize.
Motion to move.
This is a grant?
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna use
No
this.
match?
No match. And we're gonna use this grant money to get that tanker car in place and set up.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Item 13 is authorizing the submission of a grant application to and an agreement with the State of New York Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services regarding the 2021-2022 statewide interoperability communications grant formula-based funding and amending the 2022 Sheriff's Office budget.
I'm sorry, which,
Chair.
13.
13?
Item
13.
This is the 2.3 million?
2.3 million.
That's SICG grant.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, that's the SICG state grant that's annually given to 911 centers. That money will be used for the APX Next radio system portion of it and the new Untitled phone system, all grant funded.
Motion moved.
Second.
Motion's made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
All right, item 14 is authorizing the submission of a grant application to and an agreement with the State of New York Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services regarding the fiscal year 2022 domestic terrorism prevention grant.
So, Mr. Chairman, we're asking to apply, accept, and then enter into a contract for this grant. It's going to be a multidisciplinary threat assessment management team, something new with the way things are going, not only here locally, but around the country. Threat assessment is becoming a much bigger concern, and we do get a lot of requests, so we're actually going to formalize that and use multidisciplinary people, not just law enforcement, but it'll be broad spectrum to form this team, and it'll operate in Albany County.
Motion to move it.
Second.
Motion's made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
All right, item 15 is authorizing an agreement with Motorola Solutions regarding the purchase of APX radios for the sheriff's office.
This is the money from the SICG grant that would spend for the radio system upgrade.
Any questions?
So moved.
Motion's made, second.
Aye.
Motion's made and second. All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
All right, item 16 is authorizing an agreement with Motorola Solutions regarding the purchase and installation of APX Next radios and a server at the sheriff's office.
Sure.
This is the same project. It was different grant funds from an earlier grant that we're applying to the same project for the APX Next radios.
Any questions?
Motion to
None,
move
no
it.
motion. Motion's made, second.
Second.
Motion's made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
All right, item 17 is authorizing an agreement with Infrado Life and Safety Solutions Corporation regarding the purchase and installation of an IP phone system with Next Gen 911 functionality at the sheriff's office.
So the money from, again, the SICG grant being spent here on a new telephone system. Our current system is end of life, so we're replacing that. That'll be replaced for all 5 PSAPs in Albany County, all telephone positions, computer hardware and software.
Okay, any questions from the committee?
Motion moved.
Motion's made, second. Motion's made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Item 18 is authorizing an agreement with Cybex Systems, Inc. regarding the purchase of dispatch consoles for the 911 Communications Center.
So for the new 911 center that's being constructed in Clarksville, the console 911 furniture, this is Cybex, the company that provides that furniture.
Motion to move it.
Second.
Motion's made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, motion's passed.
All right. Item 19 is amending resolution number 471 for 2021 regarding an agreement with the New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee regarding the 2022 Albany County Stop DWI plan. And I can speak to this, actually.
Thank you.
This is just to change the dates. Apparently, the program dates were separate from the contract dates in the for the last resolution. So this would just change the contract dates from January 1st of 2022 through the end of this year, 12/31.
Any questions from the committee?
motion.
Second.
Motion, second. Thank you, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
All right, and I believe that's it for the sheriff.
Thank you,
I
Sheriff.
think.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Have a
Mr.
good
Chairman.
evening.
Thank you, body.
Item 20 is authorizing an agreement with the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Services regarding the gun-involved violence elimination grant and amending the 2022 probation department budget.
Good evening, my name is Wayne Connors from the Probation Department. This is a grant renewal we've had several years with DCJS. It provides 100% funding for one probation officer and another probation officer of 0.5 to provide services for the grant. We're partners with DCJS and the Albany Police Department District Attorney on this.
Motion to move it.
Second.
Motion's made and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and we're actually gonna skip 21 and move to 22. 22 is authorizing an agreement with the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services regarding the 2022 State Homeland Security Program and amending the 2022 Division of Information Services budget.
Good evening, legislators and chairman. So this is an authorization to accept the fiscal year 2022 New York State Homeland Security Program Award, as well as the State Law Enforcement and Terrorism Prevention Program Award from the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services. This request is made on behalf of the Sheriff's Department, the Health Department, as well as the Division of Information Services. This is a kind of a formula-based award. The county works in conjunction with Rensselaer County as well as Schenectady County, the former urban area work group for the capital region, and put together a grant application. This is gonna sustain existing programs like the Citizen Preparedness Corps. It's gonna bolster some cybersecurity resources for the county. And the sheriff's office anticipates using this award to improve information sharing with the local police departments. This is 100% funded by the state, and if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them.
And I would just note that Mr. Alderson just referenced both items 22 and 23. We had just split them up for ease of review, I guess.
So we're voting on 21, or 22 and 23 in one?
There's no need to group because I would just vote on them separately. It's probably
Yeah.
easier.
Motion to approve 22.
Second.
Motion's made and second, and we're on number 22 at this point. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Motion to approve 23.
Second.
Motion's made and second to approve 23, but do we read 23?
It's essentially, it's the same
Says the
grant.
same.
It's just
Yeah.
split up by provider.
Okay. Everybody understand that?
Yes.
I have a motion, do I? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
No, we gotta go
And
back.
then
We gotta go
Thanks
back
so
to-
much.
back to item,
Oh,
sorry.
I thought we were done.
Oh, so close,
See?
so close.
I mean, not him.
We skipped 2 through 11. So item 2 is local audio wireless surcharge exemption. It's tabled at the request of sponsor. Item 3 is a public hearing on proposed local law number I for 2022, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, amending local law number 6 for 2017, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, repealing the wireless communication surcharge authorized by Article 6 of the county law of the state of New York, set forth in Albany County Local Law number 9 for 2009, and imposing the wireless communication surcharges pursuant to the authority of tax law, section 186G. And I believe the chairman and the sheriff, I got moved over Deputy Chief Gorman too early. I apologize.
Well, this is just a public hearing we're going on, right? Motion to move it.
Did you have something you want to say?
I'd be
There's a motion
interested.
to move it.
There you smart man.
Sean wants to hear it.
All right, motion, we have a motion, do we have a second?
May I just ask a question? I know
Yes.
it's more in line with the local law if we want to wait for that, which I assume is going to be tabled, but.
Yep.
What's the difference between local law B and local law I guess is my,
Local law.
or are they related?
I can actually speak to that.
Okay.
They are not related. Local law B is for an exemption for wireless surcharge for, I believe that's only for wireless phones owned by the county.
Oh.
This provision, local law I, is to, and the chairman can speak to it, is in conjunction with the sheriff's department. He had spoken to the committees last fall and said he was going to do this. It's due to the 911
That's really good.
funding running out.
Okay, I'll
And-
second it.
and the chairman can speak further.
Motion is second.
Motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'm not on the committee, but I just want to ask a quick question. You know,
Yes.
last year, when the sheriff was here and discussed this, he talked about the possibility of phasing this in over a few years, rather than going from 35 cents to 95 cents. Is this something that we can do, or we can entertain with the home rule that we received from the state?
We gotta stick by whatever the state grant.
Right.
I believe they granted us the hard 95 cents.
They did.
The full 95?
Mhm.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank
State
you.
legislators recommended us do the whole thing right now.
Yep.
Okay,
And not piecemeal.
okay.
So you're looking to raise the tax fee, right, on the surcharge?
Well, I was looking to step it in so that, now it's 35 cents, maybe we go to 55, 75, 95, step this in over 3 years.
I
is what-
just want to be clear that I understand you want to raise the tax on cell phones, that's all.
I really don't, to be honest with you, but I think it's
You brought it up.
it's not the thing to do at this point, to be honest with you. I don't like the idea, but I was looking for a way to lessen the pain or the sting by phasing it in over 3 years.
Tax is a tax.
And I know, it's a tax, it's not good.
Excuse me.
What does it amount to a
Come on,
tax?
Governor, don't bother you, you're in a meeting.
Governor, I'm busy.
So it's a 60-cent.
Did we have a motion? We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second by Sean.
All right, the motion is made and second, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you.
All right, item 4, for public hearing on proposed local law number J for 2022, a local law of the County of Albany requiring that all unintended weapons in the home be locked or kept securely. Mr. Reedy is here tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can go to the hot seat if you.
No, stay where you are.
Stay here. Thank you. What local law J does is help promote safety by taking what is the state law on gun storage and gun locks. And the state law requires them to be safely stored if you, I believe, have someone under the age or 16 or under in your home. There's certain provisions if you are in a household where there's a convicted felon, someone with an IRFO, order, and certain mental health adjudications, you're required to do this. So this law will apply it universally, help simplify the state law, and help promote public safety and reduce gun injury and gun violence by doing so. We did discuss this in the law committee last night. There was a question there on the penalties on this, if they were different than what the state law was. I believe they're commensurate, but we're looking into that. And there was a suggestion that on the effective date should have a period that was not immediate, something like a 90-day waiting period before it's enacted into law. We're looking into that too. So those comments did come up yesterday. But that's what I have, Mr. Chairman.
So are you looking to hold this until?
Oh, no, I just wanted to bring everyone up to speed on, the law committee's discussion.
Okay, is there any questions from the members of the committee?
So
Or
this,
members of the legislature, whatever?
so basically this law strengthens the existing state law?
Correct. Yeah, it'll make it universal. That'll require everyone to safely store and have gun locks on guns when they're not being used. I believe by applying this universally, it helps simplify the state law and make us all safer.
I think I mentioned before that to you, Dustin, and I think the intention of this is great. But I want to make sure that the police can enforce it and that, if we have different laws in different counties, it may be applied differently. And, maybe, there has to be a great education effort to our police agencies so that they know that this county law exists, because I would assume they're all aware of the state law. But, if Albany County is gonna be different than others, and you've got, of course, our sheriff would probably know about it, but all the municipalities would have to be informed, trained properly on it, and, then the state police who have multiple county jurisdictions. That's the only, I just don't wanna cause a communication error in applying this. The intent is fine with me, but as far as applying the law universally across, across county lines, I wanna make sure that that can be done without flaws.
You don't have a question.
Go ahead.
So, this is applying to everybody who owns a gun, not just law enforcement, right?
Correct.
Yes,
So,
There are exemptions for law enforcement.
yeah.
because law enforcement.
I'm talking about applying the law when they
Right,
arrest
how you can
somebody.
enforce it.
I want to make sure that, you know, a lot of times they don't know about the county laws that we pass. And
No, they don't. They don't.
it becomes an issue sometimes where if they arrest somebody, you know, they may not know about this law unless we do a great education
How do
effort.
they,
Well, the problem is our
the only
laws
time you're
aren't,
gonna enforce this law is when you're on a call or making an arrest.
or if somebody was aware of
Something happens here and they-
Yeah, you know, our laws, I doubt that most police agencies have the county codified laws in front of them.
No, they
when
don't.
make an arrest. They don't.
They don't.
They're not codified, and that's a big issue. So, that's the only issue I have with this, is
Gotcha.
applicability. I don't have a problem with keeping weapons securely, that's no problem at all, it's great intent.
Is there anything in the law that tells the public how to do this?
It specifically says that you can keep it either in a gun safe or use a locking mechanism that are sold throughout the county.
So we gotta educate all the public how to do this then, right? Forget about the law enforcement. How about the average homeowner that has the gun? Does he know about doing all this stuff? Is that anything in there about that?
I would hope if you.
So common sense, they should know this stuff anyway.
Well, it's also already state law for probably 85% of the people that it will ever apply to. This just goes that extra step to make it universal.
But as far as actually happening, the arrest comes after. The fact is that in the house, we gotta be sure that the guns are secure. We have no knowledge of that at all. There's no law enforcement knows that, correct?
No, but this will be.
So it's a feel-good thing.
Yeah, this will be just another tool that law enforcement will be able to use. when
To arrest the
they-
person,
when they make an
just to make the arrest, but not to stop the action that's gonna happen.
Yeah, they're not gonna go into my house, look at me and say my gun's laying on the kitchen table, and, you know.
Well, thank God we're not. Thank God we're
You're
not.
sitting there with your gun on the table, you, fine, but if you got any of your kids around,
Right,
then that's a
right.
different thing. I got,
Well, you
most
know.
of mine are locked, except
Right.
one, I'm not telling you where it is.
It's on his ankle.
Can you imagine me I'm trying to secure a gun, somebody breaking in, I'd be all over the place.
Yeah,
right.
that's the problem.
Yeah.
Which is the
Mr.
problem.
Chairman.
I agree.
Mr. Chairman, I actually think this is a great piece of legislation. And Dustin, I think you can promote this and we can probably pass more legislations so that people and places where people buy guns from can educate people who are buying these guns that this is a law that is out there and this is can be applicable when police officers are making arrests. So this can be easily promoted to bring awareness to people who own guns and want to buy guns. And I think this is a great piece of legislation.
Thanks, Baroro, and I'll just say on that point, and your point is well taken, Sean. You know, again, I think the hope is by taking the state law and having it applied universally, might be a simpler law and an easier one to explain, to law enforcement in terms of enforcement. But you know, the point of this law is not to, create something where, we're not looking for people to be arrested or get in trouble with the law or, be found in violation of this. The hope here is that by making this a universal requirement for everyone who owns a firearm, that will be promoting, responsible gun ownership and education on it. So I think, I think the universal application here will help with those efforts.
Mr. McCullough brings up a good point. Maybe we should be looking at amending the law where we have to have the gun dealers post the sign now and add something to this that, also your guns have to be kept and locked in Albany County. At the dealer, it's gonna be at the signs, we're already putting signs up now anyway.
Correct.
Could I suggest that, have you spoken to the sheriff about this? I mean, we have
A
one of
little
the,
bit.
we have one of the top firearms trainers in the county in this room right now. I think it'd be nice to sit down with the sheriff's office and maybe talk about the applicability part of it. So that, and Dustin, I'm all for the idea, believe me, but I just wanna make sure we've passed a lot of laws over the last 27 years that I've been here that law enforcement doesn't know about. We don't have a codified law book, and, you know, sometimes, you know, I brought it to their attention, or somebody else has brought it to their attention, if there's a county law that applies. And that's all, I just want to make sure that something this substantial, that everybody's aware of, that's all.
Mr. Chairman, just to bring this in a full circle, it was pointed out last night that this is just for the public hearing, calling for the public hearing. And there were differences of opinion. For instance, it's the opinion of some individuals that any gun with a normal safety on it
Thank you.
would in fact qualify as having been locked out, so you can't shoot the gun because you have a mechanical safety. And there were others who are of the opinion that you actually have to have a physical lock on it or in a safe. Also, it's been pointed out, for instance, it indicates that if you leave the gun and it's not in your immediate possession, so if you go from, what's the definition of one immediate possession? You go from one room to another, you technically in violation, or if you're the gun owner, but you've taught your adult child or spouse to use that gun, and now you go to work, you leave it with them, are you in violation? So there are some definite questions, but again, some of those may come out during the discussion at a public hearing, and I'm sure there'll be continued discussion at the committee level with input from the sheriff's office and everybody else that the legislators have asked for. But again, as indicated last night, this was just for the public hearing, calling for the public hearing.
And I'm all for that, I will make a motion. Oh, I'm sorry, Paul.
I wasn't gonna say anything tonight, because I think I said a lot last night, but I wanna pick up where Bob left off. My biggest concern about this bill is that it takes away somebody's right of self-defense in their own home.
You do.
As Bob said, if everything you own is locked up and someone's banging on your door at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they're racking a shotgun, you can't, as Bob says, go run to your safe and try to figure out what to do. People, you know, there used to be three types of permits: a premises permit, where you had a right to own and protect your domicile. There was a hunting and fishing permit, which was a concealed carry permit, where judges limited them so they could only be used outdoors. And then there was a concealed carry, where you could virtually carry anywhere. And what the state law has done is reduce the concealed carry and the hunting and fishing permits down to the point where they're almost, unless you're going to the tactical range in Green Island with a locked box with your gun in the car, you have no ability for self-defense. And nobody really understands how many people this applies to. Bruce Higley told me there were between 40 and 50,000 pistol permit holders in Albany County. I was shocked by the number. In addition to that, because it applies to long guns, anyone who is a hunter or has a .22 Plinker or whatever is bound by this. And so you could be impacting 60, 70,000, 80,000 people in Albany County with this law. And I think what Sean said is right. We get two sets of laws. Probably both of them will end up being litigated, because it seems to be at odds with, at least what the current Supreme Court decision is, which says you have a right to self-defense, which in this instance, I think, is being taken away from people. I just wanted you to know some of the numbers and some of the nuances. And like I say, I wasn't going to say anything until Bob mentioned the bit about, well, of course I have a gun that's out. And I spoke to another law enforcement official today who said, I've got 2 guns out in my house. I'm not locking them up.
No.
I know where they are, and in the event of a situation, I have the ability to do self-defense in my home. So, in my estimation, that's what this comes down to. Whether or not we're going to take away people's rights of self-defense in their home.
make sure I ring the doorbell at Bob's house next time instead of walking in like I usually do.
Better do that in a lot of houses.
Mr. Bergdorf, can you get the clerk to verify how many pistol?
Oh, you can call them
I
up.
think every house in my block is.
That is a Bruce Higley's number,
50,000.
40 to 50,000 pistol permits.
And
Chairman Clay? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think we need some definitive answers, even before we send this to public hearing. If you have a safety on your gun, will that satisfy the requirements of the law? That's a straightforward question. If you have a safety on the gun, does that satisfy the requirements of the law?
It's not clear.
As we addressed last night, no, it does not. This mimics the state law, which also does not allow for a safety. It requires a gun lock or a gun safe.
Right, given
So on
that-
top of the safety, you have to have a gun lock?
I'm sorry?
On top of the safety, you have to have a gun lock?
Yes, it would require a gun lock.
All right, so my follow-up question to that is, how do
Unless
you
it's
answer the home
immediately on your
invader
person.
question? Because you can't say, excuse me, Dustin Reedy passed a law, I've got to unlock the gun here. How do you answer the home invader question where you have sometimes just a matter of seconds to defend yourself, and you're saying a gun safety isn't enough, you have to unlock or take it out of the depository? Justin, how would you answer that to someone who's concerned about a home invader?
The safety provided by requiring guns to be safely stored and locked will promote public safety much more than having just a gun lying around your bed or your house waiting for a home invader to run in. The cases of folks, fighting off home invaders within seconds from a gun in their nightstand, I haven't heard any around here. I think those are fairly rare.
Well, it gives a sense of security, particularly to women, to have a gun available because they feel a heightened sense of security. And I've talked to women, I've covered stories where women were attacked and raped and then got a gun. And although they always remembered the horror of that incident, they
I
felt more
personally
secure.
investigated home invasion rapes in the town of Colony. When I was with Colony PD, it happens. Might not be, but I'd sure want a gun by my bed. Somebody
Sure,
comes in to
we're,
rape me.
require
They're not
folks to
gonna
have-
leave,
To have safely
except
stored,
one way.
to have safely stored and locked guns.
You don't have time to, the safety on the gun should be at least enough.
Okay,
I don't believe the
I
vast.
know.
I think we
I
could
know.
probably
Yeah.
debate this issue for the next hour. I just like to move it to a public hearing to see what happens.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I'm going to move to the public hearing.
I second.
Second.
I would hold off on my vote. I'm not sure if I'm supporting this or not. I'd like to talk to a few people that I know in law enforcement and see what they think. So I move the motion for
I'll second the
hearing.
public hearing too.
Okay, I think that is the motion, right? I mean, that is the issue here, to move it to a public hearing.
Absolutely.
I would be remiss in not saying that I weigh in on the side. I'm a former law enforcement officer, so I kind of look at it a little different. And, but this is a tough one. And you probably could argue either side all night long and debate this all night long, because I think what someone said, violence in this country, in this state, in this area has increased. And you never know when you get someone that you might need to defend yourself if you are authorized to have a weapon. So with that, I like to a motion to move this to a public hearing. Counselor, am I in order?
Yep, there's a motion and a second if you want to call a vote.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.
All right, item 5 is a public hearing on proposed local law number K for 2022, a local law of the County of Albany banning deadly weapons, dangerous instruments, explosive devices, and poisonous gases from Albany County facilities.
I'll move it. Make a motion to move it.
Motion,
Second.
second, all in favor? Opposed? Thank you.
All right, item 6 is a public hearing on proposed local law number M for 2022, a local law of the County of Albany requiring the distribution of illegal firearm awareness notices. Mr. Moriello is here.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, this was tabled last night by the Law Committee. I don't know if you'd like to discuss it this evening, I'm here to do so.
Public hearing was tabled?
The public hearing was tabled, yes, by the law committee. I would say that I think there was an agreement in that there's some merit to the law, but I think there was a disagreement as to how, and what should be in the law and how to do this. So it was tabled last night by the committee. So, I mean, we can discuss it this evening if you'd like. This all came about because back in July, when Mr. Reedy had his law that required gun dealerships to post signs on their windows, behind the counter, and also to provide notices to anyone who purchased a gun, that, you know, guns were dangerous. And so we thought ourselves were thinking that, you know, once again, as we've demonstrated with the law here for putting locks on your guns, that we're always targeting the legal gun owner. We're never targeting the individual who's possessing an illegal gun. So we really need to start focusing on those people that possess illegal guns and use them. In fact, our own governor, got a quote here from the governor. Back this summer, she said, a quote, "We had one goal, get illegal guns off the streets. This is the primary driver of crime that is violent." And so that's what this is intended to do, to start anyway, to start trying to make people aware that you can dispose of of any illegal gun or any weapon by calling the sheriff's department without facing any repercussions. You don't have to worry about, getting in trouble for calling the sheriff's department. So what we're asking is anytime any county agent or personnel makes a home visit, and that would be the health department, children, youth, and families, probation, mental health, social services, veterans services, and such, that on their initial visit, and we're not trying to burden the county or the departments, on their initial visit, provide a notice, and the notice is here if you read it, stating that you can surrender an illegal gun without ramifications. We did send an amendment around, I don't know if people saw that or not, but the way the law was originally written, it would give the appearance that these would also have to be circulated if you had a Meals on Wheels delivery, but that we wanted to make that clear that that's not the case. So we did make that clear with this amendment. But again, it's with the initial visit. So we just want to get the message out there, and this is a way to start getting that message out there that you can surrender your illegal guns. Let's go after the problem we have in our county, in our state, with illegal guns. There's one other point, it escapes me now, but any comments or questions about?
I have a question.
Sure.
So is this supposed to happen during the arrest, like when the police officers actually goes to the home to make an
No,
arrest?
this is for any type of home visit by any one of our departments in the county. So it's not for somebody being arrested. If you're going to a house for us, it could be a youth and family services visit, you provide this notice. I think you'd be surprised that there are a number of people out there that are concerned and they're afraid to surrender or turn in an illegal gun because they're afraid that they'll be arrested. So this notice will go out there so everybody understands that you can do this. It's the first step. Also, the other thing that had escaped my mind was we would also post this notice in all county buildings. So anyone that enters a county building, they would see the notice saying that you can surrender any illegal guns. Any other
Okay.
questions?
Yeah.
I have to learn a little bit more about this before I take a position, but I would say that we're doing that already now. The DA's doing it with Pastor Charlie. We're actually giving you $150 if you do bring a gun in. No questions asked. That's a safe, solid place, a church. So you're not afraid that you're gonna get arrested by turning a gun in. My concern is about the notices. The gangbangers in Arbor Hill aren't gonna care about a notice, but they're gonna turn an illegal gun in. If you're over in Arbor Hill or And I'll pick my neighborhood up in, in our neighborhood, and someone from social services is there to do a check on someone who wants to probably get some kind of services from us. Then all of a sudden they get this notice on a weapon, talking about weapons. That changes the whole dynamic of the conversation. And I don't know how effective this is gonna be, what you're trying to do. I understand we're all frustrated with all these illegal guns that are bouncing around Albany County. I'm very frustrated with what's bouncing around the city of Albany. And I'll tip my hat to the sheriff's department. 1 month, and our patrols in the city of Albany, they took over 600 guns off the street. So, there's a lot of guns out there. And I just think that, I don't know what this will do to help get in.
Can I ask you a
But there are
question?
places you can go to turn guns in. And I think Pastor Charlie and the DA does it twice a year.
Add that to the
Well,
list.
that's the issue. I mean, if they do it twice a year, then what do you do the other 363 days of the year?
I'm welcome to discuss funding for a program where we can do it, every day of the year. That's great, I'd love to work with you on that. And come up with a neutral place where a church or a synagogue or someplace, because they're not gonna go to the cops.
So well,
I'm
I
gonna
think
have
one of the
to-
points was perhaps there's a parent or a brother or a relative that knows their brother, sister, relative has a gun and is worried about it and knows they can contact somebody without getting anybody in trouble, including their brother, sister, whatever, okay?
You know what?
That's one of the
There's
things.
community guns in the city of Albany.
Yes, there
that
are.
people got killed with,
Yeah.
community guns. The whole block shares.
And there's the
You know,
whole
so
the
that's-
whole block
I'm
knows.
going to cut off the debate on this.
Yeah.
I know
We'll
it's a
talk about
hot,
it another time.
I know it's a hot topic, but we have to move on. There's other committees.
So we want to table
Yeah, I just want
on
to
this?
ask Frank one question. Frank, you said a public hearing was,
The public hearing was
Tabled?
tabled, yes.
did they say why they were tabling a public hearing?
Because there was really a disagreement on how we were going to eliminate illegal guns. I mean, there were some people that had issues with the notice that.
Why would they, that's kind of strange, they wouldn't have a public hearing, why would they table something like that?
I think the
Yeah,
concern
they're-
from
they're the
last night in
public.
Law Guild
Oh,
was
okay.
that
The
they
language.
didn't wanna have a large change in language and then have it trigger a new public hearing.
So that was the reason they did it?
That was my understanding, yes, because there was back and forth about the question, or the language of the law and the language of the notice.
That would be the only reason.
So there was,
I just never heard a public hearing
That's like
being
every
tabled
case.
in
All
all
right,
the years.
then I have to cut off the debate on this. Mr. Chairman, do you have something you want to say?
I don't want to belabor it any further. We're all kind of scratching our heads and trying to put together a plan to do what we can countywide to address the gun issue nationwide. What can we do as a county? But my concern initially is how do we prepare county employees to go into homes and identify what an illegal gun is versus a legal gun? So I think this local law needs to clearly define what an illegal gun is versus what a
they don't.
legal gun is.
Who allows them to take it out? If I don't have a license, who am I to take?
Well,
that
the
gun?
employee
No,
would.
they
County
wouldn't.
county employees
has
should be
nothing
able
to
to
do
tell the
with it.
difference between a legal gun and an illegal one.
It's not up to them
It's
just to
kinda
let them
easy.
know how they
Well,
can.
it's scary too, to get some 24-year-old girl that
Bob,
works
you
for
were
social
pretty
services,
astute, though.
put
You
her in that
really know.
position.
But, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, just to clarify, this is a notice, this is not, this is going a little bit astray here.
Yeah.
And I know everybody hasn't read the legislation. It's just providing a notice saying, hey, if you see one, here's a number you can call. You can certainly modify the notice through these conversations to say maybe you should call Pastor Charlie or add some other people to the list. But it's not asking a county employee to do anything with any kind of a firearm. It's just the county employees, this particular list of people that just happen to go into homes. So it's a cheap, easy way to get the word out. If somebody else has another way of getting the word out that's cheap and easy, that could be part of the modifications.
The only way to get
Yeah.
the word out is with money.
well,
Well, that
just
could be
to
fine
note
too, if
that-
that's
that
your one.
while this is just a notice, it also does only go to people who receive services from the county. So it's not countywide, it's the poorest and most disadvantaged among the counties.
Okay.
So it's only going to them.
Thank you, Council. Pat, you have.
Yeah, it's a notice of what? It doesn't define what an illegal gun is. It needs to define what an illegal gun is so the citizens know what to.
With all due respect, you and I both shoot. And there's a ton of people out there that have gunshots
Yeah.
flying and they all know what an illegal firearm is.
I personally don't. I would love to see a definition. I think
Well, I don't think the individuals are gonna look for definitions. They're gonna just
No,
make a phone
I
call.
believe it's tabled by the sponsor, right?
No,
It's-
it was not.
It was tabled by the committee.
I'm at the committee motion table.
Motion, second. Motion's made, to table. All in favor? Opposed?
I'm opposed to table.
Opposed? Anybody else?
Yes, me too.
Two. Two opposed. Okay,
And then the
thank you.
last item, finally, sorry, is item 21, Localized related to catalytic converters. I believe Sean Ward is going to speak on this.
Yes, this, I think this has been around for a while, everybody knows what it is. There was a public hearing the other night, there were no speakers on the subject, and I'd ask that we move this.
Table 7, 8, 9, and 10, right?
It's a big issue.
Motion to move it.
Second.
Okay, motion's made, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh, okay.
Sean, can I be added as a sponsor?
Motion is approved.
Sure.
Add me as a sponsor.
Bob Beston, too.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned, Mr. Chairman.
Wait,
Good job,
wait,
Good job.
Mr. Chairman, were items 7, 8, 9, and 10?
Oh, I'm sorry, those are all tabled pending public hearing.
Thank you.
Don't answer, I'm glad nobody.